Dear students, I am Dr. Kapil Chaturvedi, Associate Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Sagar Institute of Research and Technology, Sage Group, Bhopal. Today, we will discuss our sixth lecture of Module 1 under the topic Life Cycle Pages of Project Management. So, in this, the major thing, the first thing is that under our topic life cycle phase of pages of project management, we'll have to understand what is the life cycle pages. So the life cycle pages consist of various separated modules with defined functionalities. Life cycle pages describe the various pages of project management. Basically, life cycle phases are mainly divided into two categories. First category is engineering phase, and second category is production phase. So, so in this lecture, we will discuss the phases of life cycle of project management in detail. So here we see that the life cycle phases is classified into parts: engineering phase and production phase. So the term engineering phase and production phase is well understood with an M. So we see the diagram in the detail. Life cycle phase is divided into two categories: engineering phase and production phase. And engineering phase further divided into categories: inception phase and elaboration phase. And the production phase is further divided into categories: construction phase and transition phase. So here we are seeing the detailed diagram. Now we discuss on that in detail. So in the engineering phase involves establishing the goal and defines the overall scope of the project. And engineering phase involves the small team size, and it is usually less predicted. Engineering phase is further divided into categories: inception and elaboration. So this is basically the phase where we are making a conception of the project. We are monitoring the conception level of the project. So in the inception phase, it involves establishing goal and gathering the requirement needed for the software development. So basically, this is the monitoring phase where we are working on the recognition of need and the analysis step of our SDLC. It involves the cost estimation and identifying the risk factor. This is the part where we study in the feasibility report. In the inception phase, we mainly work on the scope of the project and architecture. Feasibility analysis is also an important part of the inception phase, as we discussed. So this is all the part of the feasibility study. So this is the part where we are making the feasibility report and continuously monitor that. And the second one is under engineering phase, elaboration phase. That phase involves in-depth evaluation and study, as well as establishing the strong architecture and infrastructure. So basically, we are talking about the designing phase where we have to implement different diagrams or design the our overall logic in the pictorial form. Like in the DFD, ER diagram, flow diagrams, Gantt chart, different kind of chart we are making here. In the elaboration phase, we work on the efficiency of our architecture as well. In this phase, we also analyze use cases and other software diagrams. We reduce the risk to certain extent and preliminary users modules prepared in this phase. So basically, we are talking about the design phase in this. So this is our engineering phase. And second one is the production phase. As the name, here we are working on the production of our software. So in the production phase, we mainly focus on the implementation of project, and optimization include the reduced cost and risk factor of our project. So basically, when we are saying that we are monitoring a project, we are managing a project, so basically we are working on the cost estimation model, and we are continuously monitoring the cost effect of the project. This should be there should be reduce the cost of the project, and also we have to reduce the risk factors. This is the basic motive of management of a project. So it also involves various testing for efficient deployment of the project. It involves the large team size, and most of the time it predictable. So time to time we test the logics is okay or not, we are going correctly or not, and continuously updations will go on. It is broadly divided into two phases, further divided into phases: construction phase and the transition phase. So the in the production phase, we are going in the construction phase and working on the transition phase. So in the construction phase, we have to focus on these points. We are basically working on these points. In the construction phase, we perform the implementation of our software. So basically, we are implementing that software. We are making some code for that. In this phase, we minimize the risk and eliminate it. So we are continuously monitoring on the risk factors, and we are working on that, and we are trying to minimize that. All the features and component are integrated into an application. So basically we are making a code to implement an application or a software. In this phase, we perform strict testing and process optimization is done. Yes, we are continuously perform the testing on the software, and trying to optimize that code, because we want a robust code which can execute fastly, which perform better. We minimize the deployment cost and work to improve its efficiency. Yes, we continuously work on the efficient model, and keep in mind the cost of the project should always be less. So basically in the construction phase, we focus on implementation and testing. And in the transition phase, we mainly focus uh, on this point. In the transition phase, we perform strict testing, mainly beta testing and deployment of software or project. So basically the meaning of beta testing is that we are deploying our project on the client side, and we are continuously gathering the views and reviews from the client side, and will make the appropriate changes as per the customer's need. So same thing we are saying here. After receiving the feedback from the user, we perform some changes in our software to make it more uh, efficient. In this phase, the developer works on the project with an user's view to make software more supportable and user friendly. So basically, the software company completely make a software, and we are saying we are discussing about the management process. So management process is managing and monitor the whole process, and software company completely develop a software and deploy the software on the client side. Now in this phase, we mainly focus on the user's view, because here we are working on the reviews of the customers and making the appropriate changes as per the demand of the customer. So in this whole lecture, we focus on this diagram, which is the life cycle phases of project management, which we discuss in the starting of the project. Life cycle phase in classify in two categories: engineering phase and production phase. We discuss both of the phases, and engineering phase further divided in inception phase and elaboration phase. So we discuss inception phase, where we discuss about the initial conception level, and elaboration phase we discuss about the design level. And in the production phase, first category is construction phase, and second and transition phase. In the construction phase, we actually develop the software, we make the code, and we develop our application, and parallelly we perform the testing on that, and perform the changes as per the testing reviews. And in transition phase, we deploy our software on the client side, and we make the changes as per the client's need. As we say that here, we are performing basically the beta testing, which means we are working here the post maintenance phase, or we can say that we are making here appropriate changes to complete our application. So this is our lecture, today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll discuss the next topic, artifact. Thank you.